Like and subscribe right now, or this spider will crawl on your face when you're sleeping. No matter the color of their hat, hackers are a dangerous force to reckon with. They can target bank information, PIN numbers, passwords, but they also can stroke mayhem by hacking into the most secure places like NASA and the FBI, sometimes to find traces of ET, and sometimes to leak exotic pictures of celebrities on the internet. Here are the top 10 most dangerous hackers in the world. Number 10. Jonathan James. Between June and October of 1999, one of the most incredible episodes in the history of computer crimes was carried out. And the most fascinating part of it all was that a 15-year-old teen was behind all of them. Jonathan James, who operated under the pseudonym of Comrade, is considered one of the greatest hackers in history, thanks to his great ability to access private systems for entertainment. He was the first juvenile to be convicted and jailed for hacking in the United States. Starting at 15, he hacked into Bell South, the Miami-Dade school system, NASA, and the Department of Defense, and stole software said to have been worth $1.7 million from the government. That caused the agency to shut down their systems for 21 days and cost them $41,000 in repairs and losses. That was nothing compared to what was actually in the software. It had the source code that controlled critical elements of survival within the International Space Station. It was such a big deal that had he sold it to an enemy country, he would have made millions of dollars. He was sentenced to 6 months of house arrest and probation until he turned 18. In 2007, the Secret Service investigated James of a crime he didn't commit. Out of fear of being prosecuted, James committed suicide himself in his shower in May of 2008.
Before we move on, I've got a little challenge for you that'll take 5 seconds to complete. So here's the deal. You just leave a like on this video, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and you'll get 25 years of amazing luck. Try it. It really works.
Number 9. Matthew Bevan and Richard Price. This British hacking duo took the US government for a ride when they attacked the Pentagon's network for several weeks in 1994. It all started when Richard Price became friends with Matthew Bevan and instantly started idolizing him. Now, normally a mentor is supposed to take you under their care and show you the meaning of the world, but Bevan had darker plans for Price, much darker. They copied battlefield simulations from Griffiths Air Force Base in New York, intercepted messages from US agents in North Korea, and got access to a Korean nuclear facility. Price was 16 years old then, and Bevan was 21. The hacking attacks were especially troublesome for the US government because they couldn't tell if the duo was using their system to hack into South or North Korea. If it were North Korea, the attacks could have been seen as an act of war. Luckily, South Korea was the hackers' target, and after an international investigation, they were arrested in the following year. They are also famous for their attacks on NATO and NASA. Number 8. Edward Majercik. If you have been on the internet for some time, you probably remember the huge scandal Celebgate. For the curious minds hearing that term for the first time, yes, it was named after the Watergate scandal. Edward Majercik had orchestrated the whole thing and was behind the release of nude pictures of many celebrities, including the Hunger Games star Jennifer Lawrence. He engaged in a phishing scheme from November 2013 to August of 2014 to obtain usernames and passwords for his victims. He sent emails to them that appeared to be from security accounts of internet service providers that directed them to a website that would collect their information. After they responded by entering their usernames and passwords at that site, he illegally gained access to their iCloud and Gmail accounts. It was for his personal use, but the pictures were released to the world and they still remain on the internet. As for Edward, he was sentenced to 9 months in prison after he pled guilty. Number 7. Gary McKinnon. The hunt for ET led this mastermind, also known as Solo, to commit one of the largest cyber attacks on a military system in history. Gary McKinnon hacked nearly 100 American military and NASA servers from February 2001 to March of 2002. What's even crazier is he did it all from his girlfriend's aunt's house in London. He managed to delete sensitive data, software, and files, and the US government spent over $700,000 to recover from the damage. He taunted the military while he was at it, posting this message to their website: "Your security system is crap. I am Solo. I will continue to disrupt at the highest levels." McKinnon is an interesting guy. While hacking NASA, he purposely looked for files that contained evidence of extraterrestrials. He even found filtered and unfiltered, processed and unprocessed files that included the names of non-terrestrial officers, but they never made their way to the internet. He currently still lives in Britain. Number 6. Guardian of Peace. Normally, the name Guardian of Peace should be guarding stuff, not stealing and causing havoc between countries. But that wasn't the case for a notorious hacker group. In late November of 2014, Sony Pictures Entertainment was about to release the controversial movie The Interview, in which the plot involves the death of Kim Jong-un. Before the movie was released, Sony was hacked by a group calling itself the Guardians of Peace. The hackers, who were widely believed to be working in at least some capacity with North Korea, stole huge amounts of information off of Sony's network and displayed a scary image of demands. They also posted 5 Sony movies, out of which 4 were unreleased, to file-sharing networks. They also leaked thousands of confidential documents, everything from a private correspondence among Sony executives to salary and performance data about Sony employees. They even threatened to commit terrorist attacks if the film was released anywhere. Even though nothing violent took place, the hacker group was never found. Number 5. Karl Koch. Hackers these days are famous for leaking pictures of celebrities, but back in the 70s and 80s, computer hackers were responsible for leaking and selling information relating to the Cold War. Such was the case for Karl Koch, who was part of a group called the Chaos Computer Club. Doesn't that sound like what a 15-year-old would name their club? The club was responsible for attacks on American agencies like NASA, as always, Chief of Staff's Desk Bank, and even the Max Planck Institute for Nuclear Physics. They stole information and source codes from the servers and sold them to the KGB. In May of 1989, Karl Koch was found dead under suspicious circumstances. He was actually burned alive, but his death was ruled as a suicide. Reports later said that the KGB or the German state were behind his death to avoid further cooperation. Number 4. Kevin Mitnick. Despite being denied access to a telephone upon arrest, for fear he'd launch nuclear war by whistling a code, the world's most wanted cybercriminal in 1995, Kevin Mitnick, never used his stolen information for financial gain or to cause any harm. He didn't refer to what he was doing as hacking. Instead, he liked to call it social engineering. When Kevin was 15, he learned how to bypass the punch card system for Los Angeles city buses. Later, he graduated to the big time by breaking into the networks of Pacific Bell, Nokia, IBM, Motorola, and a few other companies. He was arrested in 1995, and after serving 12 months in prison, he continued hacking and went on the run for almost 3 years using cloned cell phones to hide his location. He was again sentenced to prison for 4 years in 1999 and was the most wanted computer criminal in the country at the time. Now he's a white hat security consultant and is the author of 2 books. Number 3. Albert Gonzalez. The son of Cuban refugees, 12-year-old Gonzalez purchased his first PC with his own money. Within 2 years, he managed to hack into NASA, prompting a visit by FBI agents to his South Miami high school. At just 28 years old, Albert Gonzalez had amassed a fortune from his credit card theft system dubbed Operation Get Rich or Die Tryin'. He stole more than 180 million payment card accounts from companies including OfficeMax, Dave & Buster's, and Boston Market. Using a basic SQL injection, this famous hacker and his team created backdoors in several corporate networks, stealing an estimated $256 million from TJX alone. During his sentencing in 2015, the federal prosecutor called Gonzalez's human victimization unparalleled. He also famously buried $1 million in his parents' backyard. And with that, it's now time for today's subscriber pick. Today's photo was sent to us by a subscriber. If you come across a photo online and want to know more details about it, just send it over to us. We might even feature it on a future video. Number 2. Cale Gamble, who used to be known online as Kraka, was the most prominent member of the hacking group Crackers with Attitude, or CWA. In late 2016, Gamble wreaked havoc by hacking into the personal accounts of several U.S. government officials, including the email account of CIA Director John Brennan and the home internet account of Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, as well as several U.S. government portals and tools. At the time, Gamble was just 15 years old. He was eventually arrested and sentenced to 2 years in prison. Even after his release, Gamble was not allowed to use a computer and was banned from using anything that connected to the internet for a year. He is now a free man and has been working on setting himself up to start a career in the cybersecurity industry. Number 1. Astra. This hacker differs from the others on this list as he has never been publicly identified. Going by the name of Astra, he was apprehended by authorities in 2008, and at that time, he was identified as a 58-year-old Greek mathematician. Reportedly, he had been hacking into the Dassault Group for almost half a decade. During that time, he stole cutting-edge weapons technology software and data which he then sold to 250 individuals around the world. His hacking cost the Dassault Group $360 million in damages. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison. No one knows why his complete identity has never been revealed, but the word Astra is a Sanskrit word for weapon. Have you ever hacked anything? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.